Drinking buddies, do you want to know these whiskeys before they were cool? That's right, we have got a hipster flight today. These are brands that I'm not that familiar with. They are so good, I knew them before they were cool. And that's what you'll be able to say if you keep watching. Let's run that, Stephen Butt.
I'm your drinking buddy.
There's going to be a lot of hipster jokes in here. What I did was I took 10 whiskeys that people have sent me samples of that are things I've never tasted before. Some of them I've never even heard of before. And I thought it'd be really fun to do a blind flight with 4 of them randomly. So I have no idea what are in these glass. It's a semi-double blind because I know what 10, are in the initial thing. But to be honest, I set this up a couple days ago. I don't even remember what I put up there. So I know a couple of them. Anyway, double blind. Let's go. Hipster flight. This is like honey and apple. Little maple. Very sweet nose. Very sweet. Low proof. I'm not sure what I got there. I think it's a bourbon. Standard scoring, 1 point for type, 1 point for proof, 1 point for distillery, 1 point for is it finished? And I can get an extra point if I snipe a bottle guess. I think this is a bourbon. I'm gonna go 90 proof. It's a little youthy, which makes sense. Probably a lot of these are craft. A little bit of a buttercream thing on here. A lot of corn, mellow corn vibes on this guy. Decent, nothing wrong with that. I did almost drink all of it, so it goes down pretty easy too. Finished. Distillery. We're gonna guess probably MGP for all of these. Because there's some pretty obscure stuff in here, and if it's sourced, it's probably MGP. Now this is a really nice nose. This is a little bit more, dank, wet basement, an older gal. Age on here, old books, leather shoes, wet wood. Sweet tea, maple syrup, mint. I think this is a rye. Could be high rye bourbon. I think that's a rye. I'm gonna go rye. 100 proof. Not finished. MGP. That's like the softball of guesses right there. Arcade Fire. I don't know. I don't know what hipsters do these days. Horn rim glasses, typewriters, records, vinyl. Oh, those aren't tasting notes. I'm just shouting out hipster things because this is a hipster flight. I do dig this one though. Oh, what is this? This is chocolatey and funky. This is malty. Is there single malts in there? I think there's single malts in there. So this could be a single malt. Little bit of a black tea thing on here too. So like, wow, not a little bit of a black tea, like a huge black tea thing. Like I legit now all of a sudden can only smell a glass of tea. That's kind of crazy. Black tea. Wow. I don't know what I got here, but I dig this. That black tea thing comes through on the palate. It's malty. Little bit of a subtle chocolate thing. I think that's a single malt. I think it's pretty darn good. We'll go 90 proof. We're gonna go finished. Distillery. I don't know. I think it could be Jameson. I mean, I think it could be Irish. So I'm just gonna. I don't know that many distilleries, and I really don't. We're gonna go with Jameson. No idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But I think this could be an Irish single malt. My favorite types of single malts tend to be Irish or American, and then Japanese and Scotch would take the next slot. But I think Irish and American single malts are better from my palate, personally. I don't know what this is. Wow, I don't know what this is. Malto meal? Maple syrup? Something funky. Am I gonna say chocolate on 3 whiskeys up here? No, did I only say chocolate? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna say chocolate again. Now, that's not a tasting note I get often, but there's a definite like cocoa thing on here for sure. Man, this smells like chocolate milk now. This ended up being a really cool experiment. I thought I was gonna get like 4 bland whiskeys I've never heard of, and I've ended up with 4 really interesting pours. Okay, so that has to have some sort of like chocolate malt in it. It has to. That is chocolate comes through on the palate big time. It's kind of giving me vibes of this a little bit. I know it's not that, but it's kind of giving me vibes of like a bourbon with a chocolate malt in it, because that has chocolate malt in it. So I'm gonna go bourbon. 90 proof. Finished for sure. I think this is finished in something, I'm not sure, and distillery, I guess we'll just go MGP again, because I warned you at the beginning I might guess MGP for all of them, since they're probably, either a small distillery that I can't name because I don't know what it is, or they're MGP, or Barton really if it's sourced from Kentucky, or Dickel if it's sourced from Indiana. Go through these again. I'm not sure which one's my favorite. Just remember that I knew them before they were cool, and you now do too. But yeah, so I'm going to go through these one more time, and we'll figure out which one's my favorite, and we'll nail down these guesses. Let's go back through this way, actually. Internet bourbon guy is having trouble here because I think this is the only bourbon up here. Well, I mean, this is a bourbon, but this has got some kind of finish on it. It's got chocolate malt on it. But this is like the only standard bourbon up here, I think. And I think it's my least favorite. These 3 are just offering such unique things that I'm intrigued by all 3. This is an interesting whiskey that I think is a rye. The complexity here is fun. It's nice and herbal and spicy. And then this one is just got, this is a wild ride of insanity. Every time I go to it, I'm picking up something different. I think it's, oh man, now I got like a shortbread cookie. Really do think that's Irish. And then this one, that is just too chocolatey. That's the first time I got kind of like a unsavory note on there. I think these 2 are my favorites, and this is a close third. But the last time I went to this, I did get something kind of unsavory, a little bit chemically. Anyway, let's figure out how I did. It wouldn't be a double blind without at least one mishap. So glass 2, kind of off to the side of the table where I had all of these samples sitting so my wife could pour them for me. There was a New Riff malted rye sample sitting up there. So somehow that one got poured in here. This is not what I intended by my hipster label, but it's kind of fun that one label that you've heard of did end up in here. And then it did perform well. I mean, this New Riff malted rye, I've been screaming from the rooftops how good it is, and it did really well in this flight. Anyway, I did really good on this one. This first one is bourbon. It's 90 proof. It's 91 proof, but I got proof. It is not finished, and it is MGP. I'm going to give myself the full point there. It says it's MGP, Tennessee, and California. I did really well on that one. That's 4 points. Second one is a rye. It's 100 proof. It's not finished. It is not MGP. That's 3. Next category, I did not do so good on this one. It is not a single malt, but it is 90 proof, and it's a finished, and that is definitely not Jameson. This is Ragged Branch. This is a wheated bourbon, 90 proof, and it's double oaked, which would make it finished. And it is really freaking good. I dig this one. I dig this one. And then last up, this one is a wild ride. So this is Richard's Double Chocolate. So it's a mash bill of corn, rye, and wheat with no malted barley in it at all. It seems like from what I was reading online, it's 12 to 14 years old, which is crazy. And then it has a final maturation where it's rested on cocoa nibs. So it might technically be finished. You might call it a finished whiskey or a flavored whiskey, but it is finished in 2 different barrels and on cocoa nibs. I got bourbon, I got 90 proof, I got finished, and I'm gonna have to do some research because I might even get MGP. Where else did they source an old whiskey, old bourbon from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I might have gotten 12 or 13 out of 16. So I did really well here because I know my hipster whiskeys. Because I'm not really a hipster, but I mean I am a little bit. I do have some records and whatnot, like whiskey. Does that make me a hipster, or is it still craft beer? Tell me in the comments. Do whiskey or the hipsters like whiskey more or craft beer? Well, drinking buddies, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you. Couldn't do this without you. This is only possible because you guys hit the like button, because you guys subscribe. Cheers. We'll see you on the next one.